I'm sure this won't lead to plotting against the U.S. behind the scenes. Like, alienating every single one of our allies while at the same time praising our adversaries, which is what he does, why he sucks off Kim Jong-un all the time and says, oh, we write love letters to each other and things of that nature. I don't know. I think in the long run, that might end up being bad. I think that might have some negative consequences associated with it. Interviews with 10 current and former officials in Panama and Washington ahead of Rubio's first foreign trip as Trump's chief diplomat, as well as 4 days on the ground in Panama City, suggest there remains room to strike a deal that reaffirms American preeminence here and rolls back China's presence without contesting Panama's control of the canal. They also point to a high risk of miscommunication and escalation as Trump's aggression collides with an affronted Panamanian elite. Here's the thing, guys. What if it's ideological, right? We know this, that Elon Musk's grandfather was a Nazi. He believed in this thing called the Technate of America. This is a belief that Elon appears to have as well. That means the U.S. basically wants complete and utter hemispheric dominance and to create a greater United States, which means Canada would become a state. We would get Greenland, which is why they're warmongering with Denmark over Greenland. He also wants Panama. Like, what if it's ideological? What if it's ideological? And he genuinely and sincerely wants to do, as he said in his speech on Inauguration Day, the new Manifest Destiny. Like, let's go back to old school 1800 style imperialism, disregard all international law, the Nuremberg Tribunal, the Geneva Convention, all of the strides and progress that humanity made. Let's throw that out. Let's throw that out, and let's go right back to that. This is where we're at, right? Now, that's worst case scenario. Best case scenario is he's just repeatedly and routinely threatening our allies to give us concessions. To give us concessions for what? Hemispheric dominance, right? Again, the idea he's not a warmonger is absurd. He's a warmonger. Because the difference between the neocons and the neocons want to dominate the world over. Paleocons say, we want to dominate the entire hemisphere. So it's not non-interventionist. It's not. This is very interventionist, but it's interventionist for our neighbors in our hemisphere. Warmongering. Dick Cheney would be blushing right now at this. Here we go. Balladares sipping on iced coffee, argue that in an increasingly multipolar world, Trump is overplaying his hand. Oh, you don't say. Fresh from a consultation at the presidential palace with his incumbent successor, Jose Raul Mulino, Balladares said the only specific response they discussed was an appeal to the United Nations, which has since been made. I love that. This is how much of a lawless situation we're in. This is how much we're in a might makes right situation. All they could think of to do is let's petition the UN. How well did the UN help out the Palestinians in Gaza? How did that go? But Balladares raised the prospect that, if pushed, Panama could retaliate by opening up the choke points of another important flow, that of South American migrants heading north from Colombia. Oh, you mean the United States doesn't have total control of absolutely everything with no retaliation? We learned that with this attempted trade war from Trump. Oh shit, they can react? Oh. So basically what they're saying is, you want a migrant crisis that's 2 or 3 times as bad as it is? Keep fucking with us. One of the things we might do, if things become worse, is just open up the gates. Rubio's visit is set to test whether direct high-level diplomacy can contain a crisis. It's not. He created the crisis. He made it. It's him. He is the crisis. Why can't we just say this? Rubio's visit is set to test whether direct high-level diplomacy can contain a crisis that began with threats made by Trump. Okay, to be fair, they did, on social media late last year, alongside complaints about toll prices and claims that Chinese soldiers operate the canal and escalated since. That's nonsense. It's not true. By the way, why would you put an alcoholic sexual assaulter who has a crusade tattoo as defense secretary? Gee, I wonder why. Why would you do that? Why would you get somebody who's so fucking compromised and so ideologically cucked to you and your worldview? Why would you do that? Oh, maybe because they'll greenlight fucking everything? Why would you pick Marco Rubio, the neocon's neocon, the warmonger of warmongers, as you deride warmongers? Why would you pick him? Oh, that's right, because he's never met a South American country, didn't want to fucking coup and take over. We are past the point of no return, y'all, because as I said, worst case scenario, they're literally trying to, through force, take over all these different areas in our hemisphere, right? Best case scenario, you are still destroying international relationships with our allies in the long run. Where, look, we are speeding towards the abyss here, where eventually the position throughout the world is, no, the dollar cannot be the world reserve currency anymore. We got to go to BRICS. We got to go to China because they're more reasonable. They're more stable. They're more sane. The U.S., you can't trust a fucking word they say. Look at how Trump rips up every international agreement. He comes in, Paris Agreement, done. Iranian nuclear agreement, done. We're done with that. We're not doing that. Why would anybody trust our word and work with us in a scenario where any treaty we make, within 4 years, it can be totally null and void? Nobody should work with us. We are not fit to lead anymore, and it's because of shit like this. And that's to say nothing of the fact that they might literally be ready to deploy troops. You see who they're warmongering with: Denmark, Greenland, Mexico, Panama, Iran, Venezuela. The list is never ending. And do they mean it? The answer is yes. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.